All right. Hey guys, welcome. Hey Ariel. Welcome. Do 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 do. Okay. There we go. All right. Welcome everyone. I am trying to connect. I am trying. Okay. I don't know what's going on. Whatever. What is kosher astrology? All right, so I am coming to you live from my studio. I want to talk a little bit about what is kosher astrology. I have a lot of people who ask about what I do. They want to understand the system. They want to understand how it works. They want to understand the methodology. So I just figured, I might as well oh, interesting. It's not letting me stream. Of course not. That would be too easy. Return home. I don't know what is going on. It's not letting me stream to my Facebook page, so that's weird. I don't know why. This is so irritating. I don't know. Okay, well, I guess Facebook won't work today. I don't know. I know, it's totally crazy talk, huh, Kate? God, if anybody knows Restream, I would really appreciate some help because I can't for the life of me figure out like what is going on. It's not allowing me to. Oh wait, hold on. Continue. Anyway, I've had some recent encounters with some really awesome people on Facebook, which like is interesting. I don't often say that. Like, I don't often deal with people who are pleasant on Facebook ever. So, for me to be able to say that is really lovely. And they've been asking, like, what exactly is kosher astrology? How does it work? Is it really kosher? Is it allowed? Blah, blah, blah. And yes, it totally is. And yes, it's absolutely allowed. And it really just kind of comes down to explaining how it works for folks. So, yeah, it's not streaming. Okay, whatever. I don't care. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. There's nothing I could do. Wonder if there's a way to stream to WhatsApp. Probably not. I don't know. I consider myself tech savvy and it's still not working. Poop. Poop, poop, poop. Whatever. I'll just try now. Will it let me stream? We will see. Nope. Of course not. This is so annoying. Okay, so apparently I am streaming live on Facebook. It just doesn't understand that I am. Hi, Binky. Hello, darling. Can I tell you how much I adore your accent? God, it makes me so happy. I cannot tell you why. I have this like deep-seated special place in my heart for all the Kiwis, but in particular, like the indigenous Kiwis that are just like so lovely and so intensely protective over their land and over their identities. And I just love it so much. It's delicious. Um, so anyway, I had one woman in particular who really truly, is an amazing person, and she really wanted to understand, what is it that you do? Like, how does kosher astrology work? Is that really a thing? So, I feel kind of like a broken record repeating this so often, but I'm more than happy to do it. And so I wanted to come on and just give some basics. Please continue to like and share the live, everyone. Let's just say I have a lot of caffeine in my system. I really have no business drinking a Pepsi at 10 o'clock at night, and yet here we are. Mistakes were made. But see, my ADHD autism brain says, well, now you've started drinking it. You can't just let it sit there. It must be drunk. So here we are. So anywho, so I want to talk a little bit about the basics. So what is kosher astrology? How does it work? Why is it a thing? How is it a thing? Mimi's here. Hi, Mimi. And to be clear, I need to I feel like this is so stupid to have to say out loud, but like wolf's moon, as in like naming the moons, Kate, as in like strawberry moon, wolf's moon, things like that, because that's a valid thing, but it tends to be more of a European thing. It's not necessarily like a kosher astrology thing. So yeah. So that's a combination of a couple of different things, actually. 1 second. Let me fix my chair. There we go. Okay. So sorry, my house is so old that my office is slanted, and every time I pull myself closer to my desk, my chair rolls away from me. And it's annoying as hell. And so I have to keep fixing it. Anywho, so okay. So yeah, so don't forget to like and share the live, everyone. My goal this year, 2026, is to hit 10,000 followers. I can't do that without you. You are literally the reason I am here. So please send this live to someone who needs it, whether they know they need it or not. So to answer Kate's question, you might have heard people say things like, oh, this is a blue moon, or oh, this is a wolf's moon, or oh, this is a strawberry moon. There are a couple of different sources for that mythos. So the mythos it originates in a few places. The first is in Europe. It's a European, originally pagan indigenous practice stemming from a little bit of Sami, a little bit of Asatru, a little bit of Celtic, Druid practice. And those pagan groups in Europe were very moon focused. Like their world revolved around the moon and the solstices and the equinoxes. And so because of that, tracking the moon was very important to them, as it is to Judaism. And so they would name the moons every month depending on the season. So for example, strawberry moon, as you might guess, is in June. It's a summer moon, because when do strawberries grow? They grow in the summer. So it, some of that stems from European practice that eventually, as usual, got co-opted by the Catholic Church. And then, some of it stems from, thank you for the rose, Binky. And then some of it stems from indigenous practice of North American tribes who also have different names for the different moons of the year because they also have lunar calendars and they also have mythological and mystic practices around the different moons as well. The issue is, especially since the advent of the internet, is we have this really tragic habit of amalgamating all of this shit together, and then you see some gif or some meme somewhere on the internet. It says, "Oh, look, it's a wolf moon. Everybody howl at the moon tonight," and you're like, "What the fuck? Where does this come from?" And that's not really a thing. So I'm always going to say check your sources, and no, it's not in any way really connected to kosher astrology, although I think it would be really cool if it was. But it is not, generally speaking. So there's that. I'm also, if you haven't already figured it out, I'm very, very cautious about grabbing. Yeah, Binky's right. Absolutely. I'm very cautious about grabbing any content or any information or any data, any practice, anything ever that stems from an indigenous practice. I don't know what just happened. Okay, can you guys see me? I don't know what just happened. Okay. Sorry, something just happened on my screen. Okay. Anyway, cool. So basically, I'm very cautious about grabbing any information or data that correlates to any indigenous practice that even smells like it could be indigenous. No, Kate, I can't see you. Ha ha ha. Because indigenous people on planet Earth have gotten co-opted enough, and I'm not going to add to that. So 99% of the time, if I don't have an answer and I think that it even is remotely possible that it stems from an indigenous origin, I'm not going to touch it. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know. Go find the indigenous person that belongs to, because I don't have an answer for you. Catherine, hey, babe. So there's that. There's that piece of it. Now, as far as what is kosher astrology, that I can tell you. I can talk about that all damn day. Like, I'm good. So for me, one second here. Let me, I have to do something really quick here. I'm trying to manage multiple screens. I apologize, everybody. Okay, so because I know I'm not going to have all night. Thank you for the roses, Mimi. Thank you for liking and sharing the live, everyone. I haven't shared it with all of my like TikTok friends. I probably should. Let me see here. One second. Let me just grab TikTok really fast and share this with folks here, and then I'll dive into what is kosher astrology, because I've got a lot more followers out of nowhere and they're going to want to know. So uno momento, por flavor. Dude, can I tell you how many Arabic men follow me on this fucking app? Like, it's really creepy to me. I don't understand like why they're so obsessed. Like, it sounds like a cliche, like, why are they so obsessed with me? Like, I am not into Arabic men. I am also happily married. So it's very odd to me that they're so interested. And then I've also noticed this weird creepy pattern where all the from men, all the Orthodox Jewish men, they follow me, but they follow me from accounts that are just like user 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And, and it's really creepy because 'cause they're also, like, following me stam, like, because I guess they're bored or what, I don't know. I don't know why the reason is. But, like, they won't own it either. Every single time they approach me and they DM me all private, like, "You're gorgeous." You know what I started doing? I started saying, "Yeah, I know. How can I help you?" And they're like, "Oh, you're rude." And I'm like, "Why? You're DMing a complete stranger on the interwebs hoping for a love connection. Like, are you from here?" It's bizarre. So, whatever. To me it's bizarre. So there, I shared it with a bunch of people. Oh, she used the sticky. Again, in case anyone is not aware, I am the Mama Mazel. I am the only kosher astrologer life coach in the world. That means that I have been practicing kosher astrology for 30 years. I have been a licensed certified life coach for over 10. And I'm the only person in the world who combines these two things together. No one has ever thought to coach people to their strengths based entirely on their kosher astrology, except me. So that's what I do. And maybe there are people out there who do something like that, but they have not ever put a word to it, put a phrase to it. And I do. And so I love what I do. You from here. Oh, Kate, I'm so glad I wasn't drinking when I read that. I would have snorted my Pepsi. Oh my God, Binky. Oh my God, I needed that. That was so funny. Holy shit. Okay, so anyway, as I was saying, I almost peed. Oh my God. So I don't even remember what I was saying. You completely derailed my train. Um okay. All right. All right. All right. Van Dam. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about kosher astrology. Let's talk a little bit about what it is, how it works, what's the point. Um, so to be very, very specific, um, there we go. Um, I I have been practicing astrology for 30 years. And again, it was private. I wasn't doing readings for money. I wasn't, it was only for myself, my family, and very close friends. And, eventually over time, I started to leverage the astrology to start noticing patterns, which is like literally what astrologers do. And I started to notice like, oh, this, particular mazel, has this planet in it, and then this thing happened, and it's been happening a lot. Maybe I should start paying attention. And I started to notice more and more and more that not only are these patterns here, um, but even before I knew that it was kosher, I knew some basics. So let's let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start. Okay, so now that I've quoted Saturday, um, we definitely wanna talk about what kosher, astrology is and what it's not. So, to begin with, astrology is not pr well, in my opinion, I'll say it. Astrology is not predicting winning lottery numbers. Astrology is not looking at someone and telling them, "I can see your aura. I know how you're feeling. I know where your bodies are buried." That's not astrology. Astrology is not peace and love and actually and, weed. That's not astrology, okay? Like, astrology is none of those things. Thank you so much. Yes, please fill the gift gallery, my darlings. I am so bad at remembering that. Thank you. Thank you so much. I have to take a lesson from Pravera because I really am so bad at that. I always forget. Um, and well, also to be fair, I've had kind of a long 6 weeks and it's been a bit stressful, so I've not been having my head on super straight lately. regardless. Um, but anyway, so astrology is not predicting the future. Astrology is not me looking at someone's natal chart and saying, "I can tell who you're gonna marry," and this, that, and the other. That's not a thing, okay? If someone tells you it's a thing, they're full of shit, and best to ignore them, because it's the same thing I'm always saying. You're never gonna meet a multi-billionaire astrologer who won all the winning lottery numbers. Like, they don't exist. Fill the gift gallery, Kate, means, so on your TikTok, which I don't know if you can see or not, I'll open mine, for example. In TikTok, when you look at the gift gallery, at the bottom is a little picture of a gift box, it's pink, and when you click it, there's a gallery of all the different things that you can gift. There's Um, many, 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 many different kinds of gifts. There's hundreds of them. They're all worth different levels of coin. And then, um, there's the Elite Awards, which is the little crown that's, to the top right of that section, and those are, like, extra fancy gifts. For the life of me, I couldn't fucking tell you what they're for or how they work. I really don't understand it very well. Um, I would love to learn more and do better at it. But, it's thing I'm not super clear on. Maybe Binky can educate me. Um, so, yes, to address Binky's, statement, kosher astrology absolutely is the observation pattern, for sure. Um, it is us looking at the way that the planets move, and they are for sure moving in a rotation and moving in a pattern that is predictable, as in Judaism, we believe that thank you, Catherine. Thank you for the donut. Hi, Israel. Hi, welcome, shalom. Um, in Judaism, we believe that Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, that there is one creator, Ribono Shel Olam, also known as Ein Sof, the endless one, and we believe that this creator put the luminaries in the sky on the second day of creation, and because of that, the creator, in the infinite wisdom that the creator has, decided that these planets should exist, and that the solar system should exist, and that the Milky Way should exist, and that all the solar systems and the galaxies of the Milky Way should exist, and the rotation that they're on has been fixed, and the pattern that they operate on has been fixed in place. And we rely on that. Thank you so much for the finger heart, Mimi. So when we look at astrology, you have to put it into context of, "Hi, Shosh, welcome." You have to look at it in context of, I am not introducing you to astrology for the first time. This is not a new thing. This has been studied. Human beings have been staying awake late at night and watching the stars go by for literally tens of thousands of years. Okay. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that I created astrology or anything like that. I'm not coining a new phrase, like, this is old, old, old human knowledge. All cultures on Earth have studied the stars for a long, long time, and it just so happens that there is a Jewish perspective on it, where we believe in Judaism that not only are the stars in their fixed orbit because Hashem put them there, um, but the ultimate plan by our creator is that these planets and these, constellations are in their fixed position because they're meant to help us, because they're meant to influence everything that's happening on planet Earth. Now, why do I think that? I think that for a few reasons. Number 1, I don't believe that this world would exist the way that it does, with as many incredible, miraculous things as there are, by accident. I just don't. I don't believe that any of this is accidental. I don't think it's even possible that it would be accidental. Um, I think that there is too much beauty and too much perfection and too much symmetry and too much incredible, impossibly low statistical likelihoods of so much that happens in our world that it's impossible that we don't have a creator. The likelihood that all of this exists as a fluke seems not only implausible to me, but it seems impossible to me. Moreover, I've had a near-death experience. I know for a fact that God's real 'cause I hung out with her for, like, 2 minutes when my heart stopped about 15 years ago. Um, but that's besides the point. A near-death experience is very personal. I'm not gonna convince you of anything when I had a near-death experience. I can only convince myself. But what I am telling you is there is too much that exists within our world that proves a creator to ignore. And the stars are a beautiful example of it. For example, for those of you who love Israel, who love Torah, who love the Jewish people, some of you remember, um, gosh, what was it? Was it 4 months ago now? 3 months ago? It was right around Rosh Hashanah. There was an airstrike by Israel on Iran, and they called it Operation Rising Lion. And it just so happened that the day that that happened, like, it was considered an incredible hi, Gollum, welcome. Don't forget to like and share the live. Um, it just so happened that that strike that happened on Iran by Israel, Israel's mortal enemy, um, Operation Rising Lion, it happened in the middle of the night. It was done so secretly that it occurred and all the planes returned home with not a life lost, and no one even knew it happened until the morning. The government reported, "Yeah, we did that. We're done." And what occurred in the skies overnight when that happened with Operation Rising Lion was specifically around the planet Ma'adim, Mars, and the Mazel, Aryeh, the lion, Leo, and the planet of war, Mars, Ma'adim, moved across the face of the lion. During the middle of this movement was the strike, Operation Rising Lion, and it basically means that the energy of going to war and having a fatal strike, destroy and devastate, was occurring under the face of the lion, which was to say the lion in the Mama Mazel system, in the Cultural astrology system, represents strength, leadership, intensity, magnetism, power, you're gonna take notice. And if you guys remember that day, when we woke up and we heard about Operation Rising Lion, all of us were fucking floored. And first thing I did immediately was I jumped online and I looked at what was going on in the sky, and I was like, "Oh, wow." Right? So, yeah, Kate, actually so it's Motzei Shabbos, I can actually pull the information now because I wanna know where the planets were last night that influenced, us capturing the Venezuelan president and his wife. Oh my fucking god. I don't even have words for this kind of mishegas, you guys. You can't even make this shit up. I'm a historian, and I'm cringing by just saying the sentence out loud. And yes, I will absolutely be pulling the Mazel and seeing what happened last night that led to all of this bullshit, but whatever. Needless to say, this experience, is just one of hundreds of millions of examples of kosher astrology proving itself. Now, above and beyond all of that, yes, that's very true as well, Kate, I completely agree with you. Above and beyond all of that, let's just get generalized. I'm not even gonna talk about all the mazalot, all of the zodiac, because I'm just gonna give a specific example. Let's first of all, I do this a lot, I'm sorry, I'm putting the carpet for the horse. Let's name some terms, okay? Kosher astrology, Not the same as pop astrology, the stuff you find in Cosmo magazine, the stuff you find in the newspaper, the stuff you find when you Google astrology on the internet, that is not what I do. So when you look up kosher astrology, you're not gonna see that kind of stuff. Why? Because what I do must exist within a framework of 3 positive commandments and 3 negative commandments from the scriptures, from the Torah, from my holy book. So, for example, the 3 don'ts of kosher astrology are we don't ever, ever predict the future. The word is called prognostication. So, like, and this can lead to a whole other conversation of, like, how does Torah define magic? How does Torah define, prognostication? How does Torah define predicting the future and balatov and, all of those different kinds of things? That's not kind of really where I'm at right now, but, like, generally speaking, the first rule of kosher astrology is we don't predict the future. There is no Hi, Lisa. Hello. We don't predict the future on any level. So when I do forecasts, for example, I'm gonna forecast the cosmic weather report, so to speak, the energetic weather report for the next month. Which, by the way, subscribers, those of you who have hit the orange heart, those of you who are super fans, those of you who are subscribers, you're going to be getting a lot of this, very soon. You're gonna get the year cosmic insight because that's what you get with your subscription. You're also going to get the monthly cosmic insight, which is, just for the month of Elishama's here! Just for the month of January/ Tevet. Um, but when I do a forecast, I'm not predicting shit. I'm telling you, "Okay, listen, this season is happening. We're in a cold month. We're in winter. This month is occurring, Chodesh Tevet, the month of Tevet. We are looking at themes around the mountain goat. What does that mean?" And I explain the meaning behind established ideas that have been around for over 5,000 years. And correlating them to Jewish mysticism, Kabbalah concepts, as well as common fucking sense, logic, and reason. Hello. And I'm telling you, okay, so if again, I'm making this up because I'm not being specific, but let's say that the month of Tevet was associated with, God forbid, breaking ankles. Like, let's say it's a very bad month for ankles, okay? I would say, listen, historically, Jews have associated this month with breaking your ankles, so please be very careful on slippery ice this month. Am I telling you you're gonna break your ankle? No, I don't do predictions, it's not what I do. If I did predictions, I'd be a millionaire. Are you kidding? So that's not what it is. But what I am doing is I'm telling you, this is the spiritual weather forecast, okay? And I want you to know if you should carry an umbrella, spiritually speaking. I want you to know if you need to have spiritual galoshes, and to prepare yourself energetically. Shlomo HaMelech, Solomon, our king, our former king in our sovereign land, um, Eretz Israel, the land of Zion, uh, wrote yes, thank you, Binky, exactly, pattern recognition. King Solomon wrote in his very, very famous works, the Ecclesiastes, what we call Kohelet, to everything there is a season. There is a time to reap and a time to sow. There is a time to kill and there is a time to be born. And everything has a season and a pattern. In the Torah, in Sefer Bereshit, in the very first book of Torah, it says, "And God put the luminaries in the sky, and I will put them in the sky for a sign and for the seasons." Hi, Shafa. Hi. So God's self is saying, I'm putting these up here not just because I feel like it, because 'cause they're pretty. I'm putting them here because I need you to use them to mark time, and I want you to start noticing these patterns. Human beings eventually started figuring out, "Oh, when this blinking red one moves over here at this time of year, these 2 tribes tend to go to war. Hmm, I wonder what that means." And over the years, over millennia, human beings who are, mind you, mostly illiterate and were committing this to memory, who were not doing this out of books, they were doing this entirely through memory, which is how most prehistory exists and how indigenous peoples have survived is through oral history. You know, they noticed these patterns and they tracked them and they kept it. So I am not the inventor of all of this. And the first rule of kosher astrology, the first don't, is we don't predict the future. What I'm doing is telling you what the spiritual weather is gonna be. The second don't, thank you so much for liking the live. The second don't of kosher astrology, I know this is a no-brainer and you're gonna laugh at me. I have to say it anyway. We don't worship the planets like they are actual gods. I know it sounds really stupid when you say it out loud, right? But, like, there are people who do. There are people who worship Jupiter like the planet is alive. And if if you believe that, and that is your belief, you are allowed to have your belief, mazel tov. All I'm gonna say is someone had to make that God for you. Where did that God come from? That was the real question that Avram Avinu, our forefather Abraham, asked himself whilst hanging out in his daddy's idol shop where his daddy made idols, little statues for the public. He was like, "Hey, you guys are worshiping this river or this rock or this mountain or this tree or this planet or this star or whatever, but, like, who made them? How did they get here?" And he used logic and reason and common sense and powers of deduction and was like, "Oh, there is an ultimate creator because someone had to go and make all of this," right? So, that's number 2. We don't worship the planets as actual deities because we're smarter than that, we're better than that. We understand that Hakadosh Baruch Hu, the Holy One, blessed be He, is the only one that can actually create matter, right? And that is above my pay grade. Clearly, I don't know how that was done, but whatever. That's how Hashem does it. Um, Aw, so cute, the ground my husband walks on. Oh my god, so cute. I love it. But, like, to be fair, Binky, you're worshiping the ground he walks on because in your eyes, he is holy to you. He is a holy being. He is an embodiment of the light of the creator who's been gifted to you, right? Like, that's why you're worshiping, you know. Oh, yes, exactly, exactly. But, like, that's the idea because we recognize that there's this hierarchy that God's actually running the world. Um, so number 1, we don't predict the future. Number 2, we don't worship the planets as living deities because we know better. Number 3, this is sort of related to number 2, but it's also separate. And these are 3 commandments that are actually in Torah. They are literally in scripture. You cannot break them. You cannot add or remove a letter or word from Torah. The 3rd commandment, the 3rd don't of kosher astrology is we don't practice astral magic. So, worshiping a planet like it's a living deity, that's astromancy. That's literally worshiping planets as gods. Like, "Please, Jupiter, please, 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 I wanna win the lottery," that's astromancy. That's the worship of the planets. Astral magic is conducting an actual ritual at a specific time of day or a specific day of the month or the year, whatever, when a specific planet is in a specific position in a specific house at a specific time of day, with a specific auspice of the moon or a specific nozzle that it's connected to, and then you do a ritual. You carve a you carve a statue, you get your crystals, you light your candles, you burn your incense, and, you pray to this deity, this Jupiter, this Saturn, this Mars, and you're like, "Hey, I need you to strike down my enemies or make my wife pregnant," or whatever. That is actually called astral magic. Um, and, Catherine, I've heard that, not it's not the first time that they came in with strange fire because they were trying to connect to Hashem, but doing it in a more Egyptian way, and that they were bringing in, a foreign idolatry type fire, but I don't necessarily know. Hi, Gollum! I don't necessarily know that that's exactly what it is. I've also heard arguments that, like, they were gay and that that's symbolism for being gay and that it was unsavory to Hashem. I've heard all kinds of I don't know that I agree with it. Um, you know Okay, so Elisheva, you have an excellent point. There are people who do that. Um, for example, literally, they're called Dianics. It's a type of paganism, it's a type of witchcraft, and they literally do moon rituals at new moon or full moon dedicated to their deity, Athena, Diana, Artemis, etcetera. And they're allowed to do that. Absolutely. Remember, all of the 607 mitzvot in the Torah that says you will not worship any other god before me are is just for the Jews. That's for the Jews, y'all. Specifically said, these are the laws for my people, the Jews. Non-Jews can do whatever the hell they want. They just have to keep the 7 Noahides. That's it. Mazel tov, have fun. Hi, Mary. So, yeah, and see, Binky makes a really good point. Celebrating the new moon and welcoming her and saying, "Hey, it's a new month, we get a new start," that's different from worship. Absolutely, and it does come down to intention, and it does come down to mindset. But anyway, so the 3 don'ts of kosher astrology, we don't do prognostication, we don't predict the future, any of that kind of shtick. That's not a thing we do, um, at all. The second thing is we don't do astromancy, we don't worship the planets like they're actual deities. And the third is we don't do astral magic. There's actually, like, an example from a Greek author named, Galenus, who is cited by it's in the kosher astrology book that's in my work tote that's, like, literally 10 feet away, and I'm too lazy to get up and go get it. Anyway, um, I wanna say it's Rambam. Rambam is very, very against astrology. But anyway, um, he quotes Galenus, and he's repeating Galenus, and he's saying, "Look, see, Galenus is telling you, in order to gain f" this is what it is. "In order to gain favor from the planet Saturn," which we call in Hebrew Shabtai. Shabtai for us is the planet that rules over Shabbat, the day of rest, and Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. Galenus, the Greek guy, ancient Greek, as in Greek Empire, as in Alexander the Great, as in at least 3,000 years ago. Galenus said, "Well, if you want favor from Saturn, you have to wear all black on Saturday, refrain from eating meat, refrain from drinking wine, refrain from relations with your spouse, do nothing that makes you laugh or smile or be happy in any way, be serious and solemn and sober all day, and then do this ritual and that ritual, and then Saturn will favor you." The Jews, like myself, saw that and we were like, that goes directly against what God told us to do." God said, "Well, actually, I want you to celebrate on Saturday. I want you to celebrate. I want you to wear bright clothing. I want you to eat delicacies and eat meat and drink wine and dance and sing and revel in this amazing, glorious day and just restrict yourself to focusing on your family and your holiness and your connection to me and just be present. and joyful and have relations with your spouse and have a wonderful time and go and enjoy, and that's the complete opposite of this Greek idea, right? So, that is a beautiful example of, like, the pagan world believed you had to do these rituals to gain favor from Saturn or, Jupiter or whatever, and, the Jews are like, "Uh, no." Like, God said no, so we're gonna just do what God said, like, we're good. And so fast forward, we get to this point. Yeah, exactly, work hard, rest easy, I love it. Um, absolutely, reflective for sure. No, not morning. And so at the end of the day, like, we understood, like, God made Saturn, God made Jupiter. We don't need to worship them. That's like, me worshiping this pen, like, I would worship the person who made the pen, not the pen. So that being said, those are the 3 don'ts of kosher astrology, very simple. No predictions, no astromancy, no astral magic. Now, there are 3 do's to kosher astrology. Oh, 100% Gollum. As a matter of fact, please remind me in 5 minutes because I have ADHD autism, I'm gonna forget. But yes, I'm gonna get into the agricultural aspect of it with, lunar life sync and, um and the Farmer's Almanac and, kosher astrology. So hi, Mindy, welcome. So hold that thought. You guys know me. Remind me in 5 minutes because I'm gonna forget. So there are 3 do's to kosher astrology, 3 things that we must always keep in mind when we do kosher astrology. So, number 1, we must always, 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 always practice kosher astrology l'shem shamayim, for the sake of heaven, in honor of Hashem, our creator, the endless one. And so our creator, Ribono Shel Olam, no form, no body, no shape, no temperature, no up, no down. Our creator is simply a living, loving being without form, and our creator created everything. And we exist within this framework that is still within our creator. The only thing outside of it is our creator. And so when we do kosher astrology, "Hi, mom. Hi, honey. It's been a minute." When we do kosher astrology, the first rule is we must remember everything is for Hashem. Everything is to elevate the name of Hashem, to respect the name of Hashem, to always give credit where credit is due. That phrase that you hear in English sometimes, "But for the grace of God go I." It's it's I only have the privilege of doing this thing, studying this thing, learning this Torah, reading this parak, whatever, because Hashem exists. That's number 1. Number 2, whenever we do kosher astrology, we have to remember this is a little harder. This is a more of a conceptual thing. And if you don't have a personal relationship with the endless one, this is even harder for you. Push yourself, stretch yourself. I want you to try. Our creator is everything. I know that's super confusing. All of existence, every cell, every atom, every electron, everything is Hashem, is our creator. And that's a really big concept that's difficult to wrap your head around. And also, Hashem is within every single atom of every single cell of us. Hi, Seth, welcome. And that means w we are both made of our creator and our creator within us. That, again, it can be really hard to wrap your head around, but it's the idea that we have this deity far off in the cosmos at the center of everything is very difficult to wrap your head around. We have the inner dwelling presence. We have the dwelling energy of the creator within us, the spark, the thing that is divides 1 minute you're dead, the next minute you're alive. That is Hashem, that is the spark of life, right? That's the second rule of kosher astrology. You have to remember that the endless one is inside of us all. the time. Every breath, every neuron, every synapse, every drop of blood, every cell, everything is embodying, endowed, resonating, vibrating with the energy of Hashem, the energy of the Holy One, blessed be He. And that makes us giant beacons of the light of God. Again, I know this seems like very, very big dramatic language. I am not stuttering. I am being literal, okay? I am informed by my near-death experience when I got to die and go home and for a couple minutes. And that living, loving light is within every single cell that you have, within every atom of every cell. And so you have to remember that when you do kosher astrology, this creator cares so much about you that not only is she in every single atom of every cell that you are, and with you, every move you make, every thought you think, she's there with you. Not only that, she gave you this beautiful snapshot the moment you were born of where the stars were in the sky. And it's this incredible, nuanced, detailed blueprint for your destiny, for your soul. It is, to quote one of my most amazing, amazing fans and friends, Tori the Mermaid, it is a love letter from the creator. That is your mazel. That is your astrology. And I know this is true. Hi, Michael. Welcome. Don't forget to like and share the live, everyone. If you haven't already, hit the little orange heart and become a super fan or subscriber, please consider it. You get a lot of bonus content, a lot of DLCs, and a lot of cosmic insights that I share with my subscribers. The second rule of kosher astrology is you have to act as though you, how is it in Hebrew? Bishvili ha'olam banu. For me, the world was created. For me, the 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 snapshot of my astrology was crafted and cultivated very, very carefully for my soul, for my neshama, to learn and grow and achieve a mission that God put me on this planet to do. That's the second rule of astrology, kosher astrology. Binky, I see you. I love you. Thank you for reminding me. The third rule of kosher astrology is that positive commitment is that not only are we doing this L'Shem Shamayim, not only do we have to remember that God is with us in every single breath and every single cell, but that this astrology practice that you're doing, where you're investigating your natal chart at the moment you were born, is for your own benefit, not to cheat the system. You can't hack life by using astrology. You can smooth your journey a hell of a lot and ease your way down the road and create so much more peacefulness in your life by aligning with the phases of the moon, by aligning with the kosher astrological system. But you can't hack life. This is not a life hack. This is not a cheat system. It just isn't. You still have to do the work. So those are the 3 don'ts. Those are the 3 do's of kosher astrology. So now I'm gonna take a moment, take a sip, if anyone has questions, and then I'm gonna answer the question about agriculture. Gollum, can you refreeze for me? 'Cause otherwise I'm gonna go on a tangent. Exactly, Kate. Thank you. You can navigate this life blindfolded with your eyes shut and your hands tied behind your back, which is what most of us are fucking doing all the time. Or you can use kosher astrology and have your eyes open and have your hands free and have a map and a compass. I vote compass. Okay. So, hey, Scott, welcome. So, hold on, let me scroll back up in the comments. Okay. 1 second. Kind of like agriculture, learn how the natural cycles work, refrain from praying to harvest. Yes. Okay. Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely, Binky. There's a reason that I love that line in that song from, Prince of Egypt, where Jethro is singing, "Look through heaven's eyes." A single thread in a tapestry, though its color brightly shines, will never see its purpose in the pattern of the grand design. So, to Gollum's question, by the way, hi, Lemon. Gollum, I swear I fucking adore your handle, by the way. I've become, like, really into Gollum in the last, like, 2 years. I know that song just totally makes me cry every fucking time I hear it. Um, oh, which reminds me, let me put on some fun music. Hold on. I know that it got a little bit annoying and a little bit, like, loud. Okay. So, I hope that's okay. Give me a thumbs up if it's a good sound. Give me a thumbs down if it's too loud. So basically, to answer Gollum's question, when we talk about absolutely, oh my god, and this is such a good question. We talk about culture astrology. Yes, obviously we're supposed to be focused on ourselves. We're supposed to be focused on benefiting ourselves, improving ourselves, what we call sort of in Jewish slang, actualizing your highest potential. Uh, Chabad and Hasidic Jews are like fucking obsessed. Actualizing your highest potential, like use every drop of juice that God has given you and squeeze it out of that gift, right? So, yes, we're supposed to use astrology for that purpose. However, some of us are farmers. That's our purpose. However, our ancestors, 90% of them, hey, Ruben, 90% of our ancestors in the land of Zion were farmers. So, yeah, we needed to be really, really in tune with the cycles of nature and the cycles of agriculture. People don't seem to get this because Judaism has become very, very intellect. Yes, women. Thank you, ma'am. Correctamundo. I will remind me in 5 minutes, Elisheva, because I want to talk about women and the moon and astrology. But Judaism in the last 1,000 years or so, minimum, has become very cerebral, very intellectual. Why? Because in Europe, we weren't fucking allowed to own farmland. We couldn't be farmers. We weren't really allowed to go back to Israel and to farm there. So we were sometimes we farmed like in Morocco, North Africa, Iran, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, etc. For the most part, we weren't allowed to farm, right? But before that, when our people lived on our sovereign land, before the Romans invaded and destroyed our homeland, our temple, our Vatican, okay? Fucking Vatican models itself after our city, okay? Our temple. Before the Romans destroyed our home, captured us, thousands of us, and then took the chain and trafficked us by foot, north through Lebanon and Turkey into Rome. We were mostly farmers. There was no modern agricultural system. Everything was subsistence farming. So we had to understand exactly what was going on in the sky, exactly what the natural forces and the natural rhythms of the weather systems and climate would do. Right? We had to know when there would be eclipses. We had to know if we could possibly predict what was going on with weather patterns. We needed to know because we were subsistence farmers. That's why Judaism has always been an agrarian religion. Always. Nisan, the Pesach holiday. Yes, it's Chag HaChorim, the festival of our freedom, but it's also the beginning of the harvest of the barley, which is the first grain of spring. The reason the spring greens are on our Pesach table. It's an agricultural festival. It marks the beginning of the barley harvest. And Shavuot, we have the harvest of the cheesecake. And, Sukkot, we have the harvest of the pineapples and whatever else you have hanging from your sukkah with, paper. For, uh, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's not the harvest. You know what I'm saying, right? Like, Tu B'Shvat is the holiday of the trees, right? Um, Sukkot is the harvest festival where we harvest most of our fruits, 7 species, in Israel, etc. So agricultural festivals were a huge deal for us. And that was part of us noticing what was happening in the skies. And so for us, kosher astrology was very much tied to it. Now let's talk a little bit about that word. I'm going to try to say it, Binky. Don't laugh at me if I screw it up. Mara Mataka. Mara Mataka. I got it. Mara. Yes. And that's also true. Yes, absolutely. Our brain is affected by our gut biome because that is our second brain. So, almanac. How many of you have ever heard of the Farmer's Almanac or the Old Farmer's Almanac? There's a reason for that. The book is at least almost 300 years old. Farmers in New England have been tracking the patterns of the moon and the weather patterns that correlate and the seasons. Oh, roll the R like Spanish R or guttural R. We're not going to publish the almanac anymore. That's dumb. Huh? I don't understand that. That doesn't make. How am I supposed to know when to plant stuff? Whatever. Doesn't matter. There's 2 versions. Also, there's the Old Farmer's Almanac, and then there's Farmer's Almanac. I don't know why, but you can Google. There's 2 different. But either way, when we have, these different patterns in weather, why would this be correlated to astrology? Well, let's answer the question with gravity. So for the science portion of our show, let's talk a little bit about the gravitational pull of the moon upon the earth. So farmers and agricultural people have known, this is known, Khaleesi, like we've known for thousands of years, without a doubt, that if you plant your seeds during the new moon, dark, new, waxing crescent, waxing gibbous, your seeds are infinitely more likely to germinate and sprout and establish a healthy root system the way they're supposed to, and then actually break ground and sprout and hit the surface at the correct time, and they are more likely to survive. And if you've ever grown seedlings, you know what I'm talking about. Farmers have also known that if you try to do that same thing during a waning moon, the seeds are going to start as well. They're just not. And yet, they've also understood that during full to waning is a wonderful time to shear your sheep, to cut your hair if you would like to slow growth, to wean your babies, to begin potty training. Those are active restrictions, or as we would say, right? Left shoulder, left arm, restriction, limitation, discipline, boundary, containment. So, okay, see, perfect. Hannah just threw that here for us. The Old Farmer's Almanac is what I use. I actually have a membership online, and I get. So farmers have always known this. Why? Because the moon. This is physics. I'm not making this up. I'm fucking woo woo. This is physics. The moon, Earth do a dance. And the gravitational pull of the moon upon the Earth is what makes that dance happen. There is a gravitational center 1,000 miles beneath the surface of the Earth. It's not smack in the middle of the Earth. It's 1,000 miles to the surface, and that gets pulled close to the moon, and that's why we dance together. The moon impacts the tides. It impacts the gravitational pull of the Earth. Oh, sorry, Vicky. I said so. Excuse me. In Kabbalah, when we talk about how the Kabbalistic tree of life is correlated to the mundane, um, actually, I can probably pull up a screenshot. Kabbalah tree of life. Here we are. I'm going to pull up a screen share. Uno momento por flavor. Hold on. Okay. Nope, that's not it. Okay, let me try to do a screen share here so you can see it. I'm going to introduce just a teeny bit of Kabbalah just for a moment, everybody. So give me a thumbs up when you see it. There you go. There you go. So all right. Can you guys see okay? Okay, great. So when you look at the Kabbalistic tree of life, you have to imagine that this is in the same shape as a human being, looking at from the back. It's not from the front, it's from the back. Is it small? Oh, okay. Okay, good. Yeah, I had to make it bigger. So when you look at, for example, when you look at the the top that says Keter crown, that's the yellow circle at the top. That refers to the literal crown of your head, aka crown chakra. Okay. Then the blue and red circles just below it that say Chochmah and Bina. Oh, sorry. The blue and red circles just to the right and left of that first yellow is Chochmah, which means wisdom. Bina, which means understanding or comprehension. And those are considered the right and left hemisphere, right, of the brain. And Chochmah is considered the masculine side, the father side, and the Bina is considered the feminine side. The right side of the tree of life is considered the expansion side, growth, expansion, more. And then the left side is considered restriction, limitation, boundary, containment. And we have to have both in order to have balance, right? So then you'll notice if you go down another tier, it's a bright blue circle and a bright blue circle. And that's chesed, right shoulder, right arm, right hand. Left shoulder is Gevura. Left shoulder, left arm, left hand. And it feels welcome. So the right side, chesed, means loving kindness. It is considered to be like what Abraham, our forefather, taught when he was welcoming people into his tent and feeding them, washing their feet, and taking care of them and offering to teach them about Hashem. He is the embodiment of chesed, loving kindness. Gevura is boundary, restriction, limitation, because when you think about growth and expansion, if you have something in your body that's growing and expanding nonstop, what do we call that? We call that cancer, right? In order for it to be healthy, there has to be boundary and containment. And that's the Gevura, that's the limitation, right? So, any questions on the Kabbalah part of it before I go back? Okay, perfect. Well, as a matter of fact, my darling Gollum, I have many. Ask Kate, ask Mimi. I have produced quite a few fun, fabulous, fantabulous cheat sheets about kosher astrology. Thank you so much. And I do not consider myself like a professional Kabbalist. I consider myself a pathetic novice when it comes to that, without a doubt. I am a total novice when it comes to Kabbalah. I wish I was, more informed. I really consider myself basic. Um, Catherine, honey, if you're a subscriber, you should already have gotten the download link. But if you don't, just DM me because I'm going to forget the minute I close the screen. DM me and I'll send you the link to do all the downloads. When you guys choose to become subscribers, you get minimum 3 different downloadable content. You get basically the cheat sheets. They are chart guides explaining the puzzle system of astrology in 3 parts: the zodiac, mazalot, the planets, the kochavelechet, and the batim, the houses on the wheel of the chart. And I made these tables that don't just describe, just here's your zodiac, here's Aries, and here's Taurus, and here's Gemini. No. These tables encompass. No. They're going to be. I'm going to DM you a link, and then you'll click the link, and it'll take you to the drive to download it. There's a couple of books that are biggie to start off with. Always choose Kosher Astrology by Rabbi Itzhak Pincus. It's the purple and gold book. It's a great book. It's less of a how-to and more of a reference source material. But basically, the cheat sheets are the zodiac, the houses, and the planets in the Mama Mazel system, and it is just what they are. It's the names in English and Hebrew, the signs, the symbols, the elements that are associated with it, the semi-precious gemstones that are associated with it, the months of the year, the Hebrew months, the English month, and more. Like that's just kind of just scratching the surface. Hold on, let me share my screen one more time, you guys, so you can see the link to the book Kosher Astrology. I really should get a kickback. I do this so much for him. I've gotten him so many customers. So this is Kosher Astrology. The website is kosherastro.com. I highly recommend it. Okay. It is absolutely a wonderful book. This is Rabbi Pincus. This is the book. It is a hardcover, heavy duty, gorgeous color book. And it has over almost 500 pages, over 150 Torah, Talmud, and Zohar references that explain why it is possible to do astrology in a kosher way. It's a wonderful, wonderful resource. Yes, it also has the tribes. It has the body part that's associated with each of the mazalot, each of the zodiac, the energy, the personality, I, uh, each, etc. That's associated with each of the mazalot. Yes, you can also get it on Amazon. Absolutely. But I would for sure recommend it. And let me Rabbi Itzhak Pincus. There you go. Yes, and A Witch Can Change Your Life is also a great one if you want to do a simple survey of Kabbalah. So that sounds very oxymoron to me because we know Kabbalah is Jewish. This is A Wish Can Change Your Life. It's by Gal Sasson. He is an Israeli Jew. He is fairly secular. He explains Kabbalah from a much broader lens. So not a Jewish religiosity lens, much more along the lens of if you're coming from a pagan background, here are some keys that would connect this sphira on the tree. Or if you're coming from a Buddhist perspective, you're going to want to notice the Sphira Tiferet, the middle yellow one, because that's associated with the Buddha and with Christ consciousness. He kind of brings it from a certain angle. I totally should. Oh my God, Binky, thank you. Thank you. I'm still learning. I'm still learning how to do this. I do want to monetize. I want to be able to have a TikTok shop. I want to see my journals that I've produced and my work on my TikTok shop. But yeah, for sure. This is great for information. I wouldn't necessarily say if you're a religious Jew that this is your best source. Obviously, the Zohar is the best source, but the Zohar is incredibly hard to read, incredibly hard to understand. It is one giant fucking metaphor, and let me tell you, I have died and gone to heaven, and I still don't understand the Zohar. Okay, so there's that. The other book you can read, which is really interesting, and I don't. Oh, here it is. Of course, I have it all on hand. Is Sefer Yetzirah, the book of creation or formation, and it is. This is the R.E.A. Kaplan version. R.E.A. Kaplan didn't write the book; curated the content of the book and wrote explanations. The book is actually credited to Avraham Avinu. It's a book of poems. Okay, so here's an example of a poem. Um, he made Shin, letter Shin, king over fire, and he bound a crown to it, and he combined one with another. And with that, he formed heaven in the universe, hot in the year, and the head in the soul. Male with Sham, Shin Aleph, and the female with Shema, Shin Mem Aleph. That's how Sefer Yetzirah reads. It's a book of poetry, and it just so happens Aryeh Kaplan, you know, did a version of this where he gives explanations and details and oh yeah, for sure, no problem. Second. Mm, 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 mm. So okay. So that's another one that I would recommend is Aryeh Kaplan version of Sefer Yetzirah. They're all so me, when it comes to talking about the agricultural piece and the gravitational pull of the moon upon the earth, again, this is the physics portion of our show. This is not touchy-feely woo-woo opinion. This is fact. And farmers like us, before we were kidnapped and trafficked out of our homeland, uh, we operated by the moon. That was our life. We needed to know what was going on with the moon. We needed to know what seasons we were in. And it's so important that we go back to that. I have to tell you, one of the biggest hardships that I've experienced, and I've never actually called it a hardship until just now in the moment. Um, one of the biggest hardships I've experienced as a late diagnosed autistic ADHD woman is constantly, constantly, constantly pouring my energy down and constantly trying to walk up a hill and accomplish things and be productive at the wrong times and in the wrong seasons. And part of it is being stuck in this capitalist society where your productivity is equated with where rest is simplified, where rest is equated with laziness, and laziness is equated with being worthless and useless. And part of it is having neurodivergence. I constantly want to be doing something. I can't sit. Part of it's my muzzle. I'm also Chama b'Teomim. I'm Sun in Gemini. Like I always got thinking, doing. But I have noticed, y'all, if I had $1 for every time a woman says to me, I'm always chasing my tail. I'm always exhausted. I keep trying to fit too much into one day, and then I get nothing done. Why do we think this is? Because we're not operating by the rhythm of the moon. It is absolutely a struggle column for sure. Hi, Soils. We have veered so fucking far off course from the way that God intended. And you know it, I know it. That's why you're sitting here watching me live. You know this. You know we're supposed to be operating by moonlight, sunlight, fire, and maybe lightning and sun. You know the way that we operate in this isn't normal. We were never meant to interface with these many people. We were never meant to see our own reflection this often. We were never meant to operate in this reality where we work like dogs and we don't give ourselves an opportunity to just let the sun go down and lay the fuck down and go to sleep. The issue is, especially again, as a neurodivergent woman, and ADHD and autism present differently for me. I have tried so hard for so many years to operate in a linear model. You guys, it's fucking dangerous. I am not a linear person. I am cyclical. I am a spiral. I am not a fucking line. I am not a straight line. Hell no. And I think that it's a tragedy that we are telling ourselves that we have to be this linear day in, day out, 100% productivity, 7 days a week, no matter who we are, and put out the best quality work no matter what's going on in our lives. And especially as women, I know Ellie Sheva, you mentioned that earlier. We are women, we are cyclical. And you have your menstrual cycle, exactly what I'm talking about. There's a whole down for the count. There's a whole week where we are preparing to be down for the count. There's a whole week on the other end where we're recovering from having lost a tremendous amount of blood and iron. But the post-industrial capitalist framework, and thank you fucking Max Weber and your Protestant work ethic, have destroyed our inner rhythm, our inner knowing, and has been forcing us to ignore our inner somatic signals, our mind body signals, and ignore the pattern of the moon. And that is literally my goal. My goal is to teach every single person I encounter to walk away from this garbage, constructed, fake reality where you have to be the exact same every day. You have to put the same effort, the same level of work, the same quality every single day, and walk away from it and start shifting back to let your life sync, because there are phases of the moon where she is calling you to go inward, to rest, to retreat, to go down, to go dark. I'll tell you one thing. See, Catherine gets it. It's, when do we heal? If you've recently had a cold, when do we heal? When we're asleep. What is the first thing that the doctor tells you after, they find out you're a cold? They tell you drink lots of fluids and get plenty of rest. We heal when we rest. We learn when we rest. Dream when we rest. We recuperate when we rest. We replenish our platelets when we rest. We get new ideas when we rest. Did you know that if you go to bed and ask yourself a question and say, I know when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to get the answer to my question, you'll have the answer when you wake up, because your brain needs the rest. Hi, New Faith. Rest is holy. Rest is sacred. That is the reason that God gave us Shabbat. That is the reason that we are meant every single day week to rest for 25 hours as Jews. Because if we can't pause, we can't replenish. And the moon was built with that system in mind. She gives us a good, I would say, 15, 16 days of let's start to tone it down. Let's start to, let's start, let's start to refine and reduce and retreat. This isn't an accident. She's been doing this dance with us every month, 13 months a year, every year for billions of years. This is now an established electromagnetic and gravitational pattern that we have in our solar system, period. If we keep fighting this flow, we are going to keep trying to put out our best productive effort during the wrong phase of the moon when the gravitational pull is saying, no, 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 stop. Don't build, don't generate, don't create. Let go, release, pick it up again next moon. And the converse is true. When the moon goes from dark to new, and she's again, and she goes into crescent and then gibbous, being given a new chance, being given an opportunity to start over, or to pick up the project that we put down a couple weeks prior, or we closed out of that chapter and pick it back up again and keep going. There's a reason that you feel like you're chasing your tail yourself. You have got operating in a lunar life. I'm telling you, it's the best thing I've ever done for myself. It gives me full and total autonomy over my energetic reserves. Because I have been trying for years to pour my energy into activity and work at the wrong time. Wasting my time. And if you have autoimmune issues, you know what spoon theory is. I don't want you losing your spoons because you're trying to accomplish something at a time where the moon is saying, honey, go the fuck to bed. Or, you have low capacity today. Do the bare minimum today. Or, conversely, like if you're in an industry or career where you have to show up every day, you have to be your best self every day, then in backstage, behind the scenes, you're setting up a crock pot meal. You are maybe hiring a housekeeper for that one day of the month. Or you're not going to sweep the floors. You're not going to do laundry that day. Yes. That is how you take this lunar life sync and you start to shift your decisions in a way where you're able to support yourself and empower yourself to keep your energy reserves when you need to. That's one of the best, most important things that I've learned from kosher astrology. Is I have got to start operating by the stars. The moon is considered a star in our system. And I have got to start noticing what the energetic pattern is for the day. That's the reason I built this new Notion board I'm so excited about. I'm actually going to share it with you guys right now. I'm really proud of it. It's really been quite an amazing thing that I created. And I'm still testing it, like to make sure that it looks the way I want it to look. But God willing, I get it right and I make it look the way I want, and the statistics and the numbers work out well. This Notion board will be for sale in my TikTok shop, as well as on my website in the future. So let me see if I can kind of pull this over a little bit so you can see. Here we go. So for those of you who know Notion, if you know, you know. This is what it looks like. It's called a lunar rhythm, and help, once I'm successful making sure that it works, not only am I gonna sell it, hopefully turn it into an app so that you can see not only the phase of the moon, but you'll be able to see, um, which mazel the moon is in as she's cycling through her phases. So, for example, this is from like 2 weeks ago, December 19th, the moon was dark. She was in Keshet, the Archer, Sagittarius. That was a rest for me, according to my natal chart. It was a Friday. I typically don't do much on Fridays except cook, right? So for me, it was a blackout day. It was a rest day. It was Rosh Chodesh. It was the beginning of the new month. So I have notes in here for myself to be very gentle with myself. I had medium capacity that day. Um, and then we get into new moon, we get into waxing moon, and the moon shifting into these different mazalot. Each color is a different element. We've got green is earth. We've got yellow is air. Breaking up. I'm not sure. I think okay. I think this is not going to work sustainably for very long. Okay. So sorry about that. The screen froze and it wasn't working out well, and I'm losing bandwidth. You get the idea. Being able to notice where the moon is incredibly important because the moon, that is the Mama Mazel astrology system, the moon doesn't just represent your emotional body and your desire, your wants, your interests, your ego. It also represents bracha, blessings from its, it represents the emotional connection we have to our creator. And sometimes that connection is really close, and sometimes it feels very far away. And the more we notice when it feels close and when it feels far away, and what phase the moon is in, and what mazel the moon is in, the more we can start learning and studying who we are. That is the greatest mission, is to learn who you are. So I built this. I'm going to take like 6 months to track the data. And God willing, it's going to be it's available for everyone. But kosher astrology connection here, I cannot stress this enough. It's that important for my mental health, for my energy reserves, because I do live with autoimmune issues. I do have fibromyalgia. I do have Raynaud's syndrome. I do have Epstein, and thank God I've been able to heal a lot of it, and I'm on medication for it, and I'm way better than me, but it's still really important for me to know, okay, the forecast today says this is energetically volatile day. I should probably not do X, Y, Z or whatever it is that I feel like I'm going to do, just so that I don't feel like I've wasted my time. Those things matter a lot. And if I could convey anything to you about kosher astrology, it would be that. Never mind that I would love to read for you. I would love to give you a mazel reading for a full hour. It's on Zoom, you and me. You even get a copy of the Zoom call. Um, you know, my hope is that I get to read the astrology for every single Jew on Mashiach comes. But just the bare minimum of you understanding your sun, moon, and rising, your Aharon Yaakov, so that you can understand how the moon affects you, is good. It's leaps and bounds ahead of the game. So that's my spiel when it comes to kosher astrology. That's really my spiel. It really is pattern recognition. It really is about noticing how you're feeling, how your children are behaving, how your spouse is behaving, noticing what's happening in the news, notice when politics gets exacerbated, noticing what's going on with the stock market. The planets and their movements are not accidental. They have been intentionally planned. We really need to notice these things, if only for our own mind-body health. So yeah, I'm going to shut up. I'm going to take my last sip of my Pepsi, and then I'm going to open it up for another 5 minutes for questions. Don't forget to share the live. Sorry, everyone. I'm out of trust from my father, so I'm trying to get back on TikTok more often, and I'm hoping to be able to maintain this every week. Who has questions? I think I want to change the music. Last night's placements. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Uno momento por flavor. Let me grab my one second. Okay, so for those who are curious, the first place I always go is astro.com. And the second place I typically go is astro-sync.com. And let me grab my AI that I built for exactly this. One moment. So for those who are curious, I actually have created an AI that uses my Astro dash. Let me put it in the comments. 1 second. There. I wrote an AI for my Mama Mazel astrology system. So anybody can pull up ChatGPT, ask it astrology questions. It can totally do that for you. I built one specifically around my system, codifying and qualifying the specifics of my work. So it uses a twin lens. It focuses on the brachot from Avram, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, and Rachalea, and the elemental balance, and everything else. So that's typically what I lean on when I look at Restream.com and Seek.com and things like that. So let's see here. Excuse me. Okay, so first thing that's jumping out at me is that Tzedek and Uron were both in retrograde. Where can you find what specifically, Catherine? The AI that I wrote? Hi, Gail. Welcome. So Tzedek, Jupiter is in retrograde. No, Catherine, that AI is just mine. It's my personal one that I created. So Jupiter is in retrograde in the mazel of Sartan, the Cancer, the crab, and Uran also in retrograde in Shore, the bull. Both more than 20 degrees. So we're talking about 22 degrees for Tzedek and 25 degrees for Shore. So also Chiron stationed direct yesterday. Chiron in my system is called the primal wound. Wounded healer, it's a primal wound. It's related to the original wound that we receive when we are separated from the creator the moment we're born. That wound is meant to be there. It helps draw us back to the creator. It's a feature, not a wound. So generally speaking, I am seeing, so here's the thing. So Tzedek is a planet related to growth, expansion, increase, joy, friendship, celebration, and being in the mazel of the crab, but in retrograde, it means that all that joy, expansion, growth, etc., is inward. Meaning, not only was it inward, yes, the moon was also in the crab. Thank you for asking, Gravity. The moon was in Twins last night. She's moved into the crab today. Let me read the full list. So, as of yesterday, Sun in Gdi, Capricorn, Moon Levana B'Terum in the Twins, and then moved into Sartan. Kohav was in Keshet, was in Sagittarius. He's actually almost out of Sagittarius at this point. He's 29 degrees Sagittarius. Noga was in Gdi. The Venus was in Capricorn as well. Ma'adim also in Gdi in Capricorn as well. Mars. Tzedek, Bisartan, Jupiter in Crab, retrograde. Shabtai, Saturn, Dagim in the Fish, 27 degrees. Lon, Shore, 25 degrees retrograde. So Uranus in the Bull, Taurus, 25 degrees retrograde. Racha, Neptune, Dagim, almost out of Dagim. So Neptune was in Pisces, 29 degrees yesterday. And Sheol was in Dli. So Pluto was in the Aquarius, 25 degrees. So first thing that's jumping out immediately is there's a tremendous amount of Earth movement in the sky as of yesterday. Earth means body, practicality, pragmatism, healing, home, stability, money, structure, consistency, endurance, framework, strength, bone, continuity, children. That's Earth. Earth is also a very slow element. It's the slowest element of the four. That's the first thing that's popping out. We have the Sun, we have Venus, we have Mars, we have Uranus, all in Earth. That's 5 in Earth signs, and almost all of them are in the same mazel in Gdi. It's not an accident. The second most influential element in this I'm seeing looks like, as of yesterday, air, water. It was a balance of air to water and then a little bit of fire. So that's telling me that it was all about money, structures, industry, labor, earthly things, what we call gashmias. So that's the first thing that's jumping out at me. The second thing is Uron. Uron is the planet of revolution, of where we're, concepts around rebellion, around freedom. And when we think of Ulon as the planet of rebellion and revolution and out-of-the-box thinking, it being in retrograde means all of that thinking and pondering, conceptualizing is inward. Meaning people are compelled to think inwardly about, where do I find my own liberty? Where do I find my own freedom? Where am I being restricted internally? Conversations around freedom, liberty, rebellion, revolution are Uranus's bread and butter. In the mazel of Shore of the Bull, you're talking about home, comfort, safety, motherhood, materialism, earthly delights, pleasure, enjoyment. That is coming up for me. I'm trying to sort of get a sense in real time of how I make those correlations. The fact that Ulan was in retrograde yesterday, in relation to the bull, is very significant to me. Now, the other thing I'm noticing here is Ma'adim Bigdi, the Mars and the mountain goat. That means basically military power, military action, strategy, but in the Capricorn is long-term thinking, long game, long-term strategy, disciplined action, military power like on a large scale, governmental level, on a long runway level. And the placement itself, because it's Ma'adim has a fairly decent rotation. It's revolution. It's not short. It's longer than Earth. So it's going to be in the mountain goat for a while, weeks, maybe even months. It feels like an overarching theme that's influencing governments right now. It's like governments are feeling this energy, long-term strategy. Now, obviously, governments are supposed to be thinking strategically. They're supposed to be thinking in long term. This is even stronger. Capricorn is the of the zodiac. They are ambitious as fuck. They have a plan, get out of their way. So that's the energy that's kind of coming up. We think of Ma'adim. I'm also kind of getting this, because Mercury was almost completely out of the Archer Sagittarius and moving then immediately into the Mountain Goat, which is happening now. Mercury, communication, messages, ideas, expression. That to me is, again, long-term, strategic, disciplined, ambitious communication. Like, you want to give a message, this is going to be a very sharp, intense message that is very clear, and it's almost going to feel like an ultimatum, because that's how Capricorns think. Either you're with me or you're against me. And yeah, Chiron went direct. Let me double check. Hold on. Tale. Chiron's been in Tale. 22 degrees at this point. Chiron's been in Tale for a while. Aries. So there's that thing about Mercury. Also, the outer planets, they're very slow. They're generational planets, and they influence humanity as a race. And they don't influence us one at a time. But what I can tell you from what I'm seeing here is a couple of things. Number one, it's not an accident that all of this strategic, long-term, diplomatic, disciplined energy is influencing identity, influencing communication, influencing relationships, both loving relationships and diplomatic relationships, because Venus is in the mountain goat as well. It's not an accident that Mars is involved in strategic, disciplined, long-term strategy, behavior. That's not an accident. Yes, we are in the season of the mountain goat, but the fact that all of those were happening within the same 24 to 48 hours, that strike in Venezuela happened. And Iran, okay? Don't forget Iran. The people of Iran have been protesting in the streets. God bless them. God bless a free Iran. I hope their terrorist regime falls tonight and never arises again. But when we put this into perspective, in terms of what, you guys have probably seen the TikToks floating around. What does Venezuela and Iran have to do with each other? Well, we know it has to do with drug trafficking. We know that was the reason the president captured. I can't. That's the reason the president captured the president. The president of the U.S. captured the president of Venezuela for narco tea, right? Not only is it them producing fentanyl and opioids, both Iran and Venezuela, and flooding markets with them and flooding the U.S. with them. But also, we understand very clearly, thank you to Kate's point, this earth feeling, this earthiness, both Venezuela and Iran have been dealing with OPEC, dealing with oil reserves, which are earth resources. Now, from what I understand, Venezuela's oil market has gone bust. But Iran, that's kind of all they've got is drugs and oil. Which is kind of sad, if you think about it. Like, they don't really have any other resources to commoditize, to sell, to offer to the world. But looking at the transits alone right now, we've got the moon shifting from analyzing our emotions, thinking about our emotions, to really coming home and feeling them. All of this earth energy of let's be ambitious, let's have a long-term plan. And then we've got the two interpersonal planets, Tzedek and Shabtai, that are both in water signs right now, in the crab and in the fish. Emotional, very emotional placements. What this tells me, and I'm getting chills, and that's confirmation for me that I'm on the right track. When I see Elohim Yishmael, when I see hundreds and hundreds of innocent people taking to the street, begging for this terrorist regime to fall, after 47 years of being under the thumb of the Ayatollah, all I can think of is the mothers that are crying out to God, help us defend our babies, help us defend our people. Please help us break this major governmental, military, strategic infrastructure. Capricorn, help us break it. Remember what I said? Uranus went retrograde, right? So this revolution idea is now happening in real time. And the Taurus, the shore that Oran is in, Taurus is a very feminine model. It is a mothering energy. She is very particular. She likes what she likes. She likes home and family and love and good food and good music and kindness and softness and enjoyment. If you're focusing your revolution on those ideals, you're going to destroy anything that is keeping you from enjoying your family. That, to me, spells revolution in Iran. Do I see this as a direct correlation? No. Is correlation called? Absolutely not. Am I predicting the future? Of course not. I'm seeing patterns. And knowing that Tzedek and Shabtai have a very long retrograde, or a very long return. Saturn's return is 29.5 years. Jupiter's is longer. And then we have the outer planets, which take generations to move. I'm just seeing a lot of shifts that are coming and here's the other thing to remember. The moon, I'm sorry, the sun, uh, she's less than 14 days away from shifting into the water bearer, the Aquarian. And then Kohav, Noga, and Ma'adim all move into the Aquarian together. What is the Aquarian? The water bearer, Dli. That is visionary, communal, collective, revolutionary thinking. The ruling planet of Dli is Uran. The ruling planet of Aquarius is Uranus. Revolution, rebellion, new thinking, collective healing. I see the next 30 days energetically shifting from not just long-term strategy, but like we're going to now shift to breaking the box, like the way that the Khaleesi used to say in Game of Thrones, like breaking the wheel. That's the vibe that's coming based on the placements that I'm seeing right now. But again, can I predict the future? No, of course not. Could I have predicted when I woke up this morning that the news was going to say president captures president? Fuck no. That is the craziest shit I've ever heard of. And I have a bachelor's in European medieval and Renaissance history. Like I know, and I've done surveys on just American history, like pre-American Civil War, post-American Civil War. I've never imagined I would say a sentence like that. That's the craziest sentence I've ever said in my life. The president captured the president. Like, what are you talking about? But at the end of the day, so, and people of Venezuela are part of this. That tells me a lot. That tells me a lot. So it leaves me very curious, Kate. I would definitely say that for sure. I would also pay attention to what oil prices are going to be doing very soon. That's just what my gut is telling me, is notice what happens to oil values. Because if the people of Iran, with God's help, if they can destroy the regime, they will have their sovereignty back again, and they can begin a whole new chapter with a new government, and that'll shift world economies for sure. So that's a thing to be aware of. Hey, Malau, it's been a minute. Yes, Hannah, you're absolutely right. This can be true. Silver, absolutely. I agree. But yeah, I've hit 2 hours, my darlings. It's after midnight. I'm about to lose my voice. So I am going to let you go and I love you again. For those of you who are not aware, I am Mama Mazel, the kosher astrologer life coach in the world. I love what I do. I want to read for you. If you haven't already clicked the heart and followed me, hit the link in my profile. Thank you for the roses. Hit the link in bio. Pick the reading of your choice, single couple for marriage, and get a reading from me. I would love to read for you. It's life-changing. And very soon, I'm going to be putting out some amazing new stuff. So please stay tuned. There's a new Life Sync course that is being created by yours truly and will be released to the public very soon, as well as a few other amazing programs that will be coming to the surface. Be good to each other. Keep your eyes on the skies, and I will see you in the stars.